The US government absolves Israel of blame in the Gaza Hospital Blast. President Joe Biden cited Palestinian militants as the culprits. The National Security Council's assessment based on intel, missile activity and open sources points away from Israel. They lean towards Palestinian Islamic Jihad's involvement. The hospital explosion is now believed to be a rocket launch gone wrong. Evidence suggests a ground explosion, not an airstrike. The investigation is ongoing with US intelligence assets collecting more evidences. The tragic incident in Gaza continues to unfold as the world watches closely. Here is what Israeli Deputy Ambassador on Gaza ground operation has to say.
I look at it as the rest of his words also. He also called us apartheid and criminals and murderers. I look at it as a pile of garbage. He is a representative of a regime that murders his own people en masse. He is not the one to criticize us, that's first, and he's not a valid source of anything. And if there's something that we've learned recently, and especially this last night, we need to look extensively at what we're seeing and hearing before we rush to conclusions. He is an ambassador of a state that since 1979 has vowed to destroy us, that has armed 3 terror organizations on our borders: Hezbollah, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the ones who fired the rocket into the hospital yesterday and blamed us, and Hamas. And they are heavily armed. They are better armed than some armies in your region and in ours. And they are hell-bent on destroying us, and they're saying it openly. So I would take anything he says, not with a grain of salt, maybe with a ton of salt.
But you are categorically saying that there is Iran's hand in the Saturday attack on Israel.
100%. You can see the arms. It's not so complicated. All people need to do is open their eyes. Look at what's on those pickup trucks. Look at the arms. Understand where they come from. We have intelligence. We share what we need with who we need. But when we say that their hand is in everything, their hand is in everything. From the planning, from the targeting, from the arming, every single portion. You can even see it in the upgrading of the missiles that they do to Hezbollah, trying to get them to be better armed and GPS maneuverable. They are doing everything around us to make sure that Israelis and Jews die. And it's a clear hand of Iran. It's not a mistaken hand. There are SIGINT and OPINT information that we don't share with the public, but there is no question about their complicity.
We saw a terrible attack last night on a hospital in Palestine. Like, they have blamed Israel, but Israel is saying it's a handiwork of the terror organizations working in Palestine. Can you give us more clarity? Although there's a big briefing which has already happened, but can you add on that?
Yes, of course. But I want to say the problem wasn't only with what they said. They can say whatever they want. It's the way that it's perceived and how people believe it. Look how quick BBC was to jump on, not even waiting for a verification, not even asking for a comment from IDF spokesperson and waiting to receive something. Look how quick they published that this is Israel's doing. Israel butchered and massacred. But when we look at the facts, what do we really see? 6:59, that missile fell on the hospital. There is a clear video of Al Jazeera showing it. And then 10 minutes later, already the Hamas health authority is telling them that 500 people died. Just for your information, Navin, 12 days later, we are still counting the dead that happened on the 7th of October. We're not even sure how many died yet. But within 10 minutes, they know it's 500 people. Then you look at what you saw first light. You see that it's a parking lot that burned. None of the buildings of the hospital were even harmed. A parking lot held 500 people that all died. It's very mysterious, I think. And then you see the claims that were made internationally and how they were backtracked slowly. CNN backtracked slowly, New York Times backtracked slowly, but did they apologize for what they said? Did they apologize for the damage they did in the 2-3 hours where the rest of the world that is so hot on blaming Israel for everything took this and used it as a lance to spear us? Did they apologize for something? Did they change their headlines? They're still in Israel reporting comfortably from beyond the border, having no clue as to what's really happening. There were 450 rockets like this that fell inside Gaza since the beginning of this war. They're Palestinian Islamic Jihad rockets. They're Hamas rockets. They're not Israeli rockets. I'm not saying that we don't target the north of Gaza and terrorist infrastructure. We do. And sometimes civilians get hurt. And that's a fact. And we don't shy away from it. But when we do something, we own up to it. And when they do something, they make sure to blame us. And the international media is so quick to pick up and make it into a blood libel. And a horrible blood libel, especially after the events of the 7th of October.
So now we also saw some of the reports that Hamas has set conditions, like if you stop the strikes, they are going to release the hostages. Any update on that or anything you can tell us about that?
I mean, do you truly believe Hamas on anything they say? I ask you.
No, I'm just relying on the reports because I'm not there.
Not a single person in Israel believes a word that Hamas has to say. And not a single person on earth should believe a word that Hamas has to say. It's a bloodthirsty terrorist organization that kidnapped babies to line their bunkers as human shields. Not a word that comes out of their mouth is worth taking seriously. There will be an operation to uproot them, and they are afraid, and they understand we're coming. And instead of facing us, they are running to the international media. They are putting out propaganda, false news, doing everything they can to try and stall us. We're not going to be stalled. They are going to be uprooted. It's a fact.
Is Israel going to start ground operations very soon?
We're going to start the operation and we're going to uproot them. We won't share more than that. We will do it when it's comfortable and strategically right for us. But have no question in your mind, we are definitely coming to uproot them.